Get ready for a gripping and captivating journey as we delve into the dark side of the happiest place on Earth. Welcome to the Disneyland Disaster Marathon, where we uncover 3 chilling accidents that forever changed the lives of those involved. Brandon was a joyful and energetic 4-year-old boy, always beaming with happiness. His mother was a loving and protective parent who rarely let him out of her sight. It was only natural for her to take him to Disneyland, the magical land of fun and joy, where children's dreams come true. Disneyland, located in Anaheim, California, is a breathtaking and massive theme park that opened its doors in 1955. It was the brainchild of the legendary Walt Disney himself, designed and constructed under his direct supervision. The park has entertained millions of visitors since its inception, undergoing expansions and renovations over the years to offer new and exciting experiences. On that fateful day, Disneyland turned into a place of horror instead of joy for Brandon and his family. The spinning Roger Rabbit ride, a favorite among little children, was irresistible to Brandon. His mother bought the tickets, and they eagerly waited for their turn. Brandon couldn't contain his excitement to hop into the ride's taxicab, which was designed to accommodate 2 people. His mother sat beside him, expecting the safety bars to secure them as they embarked on the whimsical adventure. However, within moments, chaos erupted, shattering the atmosphere of happiness. It was a nightmare that would haunt Brandon and his family for years to come. Something went terribly wrong on the Roger Rabbit ride that day, turning their world upside down. Disneyland, being a renowned and prestigious theme park, is known for its commitment to safety. Nevertheless, accidents can happen, even in the most carefully managed places. Most accidents in theme parks occur due to preventable causes, such as manufacturing flaws, inadequate maintenance, or human errors. One would expect a park as massive and renowned as Disneyland to have stringent safety measures in place. Unfortunately, for Brandon Zucker and his family, that was not the case. The Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, a dark ride based on the popular film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, was located in Disneyland's Mickey's Toontown section. It had been a beloved attraction for children since its opening in 1994. However, on that ill-fated day, the ride proved to be a nightmare for Brandon and his mother. For agonizingly long minutes, Brandon remained trapped beneath the car, while his mother and horrified onlookers watched in disbelief. The paramedics were called, and they worked desperately to free the helpless child from the wreckage. Finally, they managed to pry him out, but the scene was heart-wrenching. The impact of the car had folded his tiny body, causing devastating injuries. Brandon was rushed to the hospital, his vital signs alarmingly weak. The doctors fought to save his life, performing multiple resuscitative efforts. Miraculously, his vital signs improved, but his injuries were extensive and terrifying. He had suffered a left diaphragmatic tear, a collapsed lung, a tear to his liver and spleen, and a left-sided pelvic fracture. Brandon was placed in intensive care, kept in an induced coma for days. Though Brandon survived the initial ordeal, his injuries were too severe for him to regain a normal life. He never spoke or walked again, his brain damage irreparable. For the next 8 years, he battled through countless surgeries, therapies, and hospital stays. Brandon's life became a constant struggle, and his family's heartbreak was immeasurable. Despite their unwavering love and care, Brandon's condition deteriorated over time, and at the age of 13, he tragically passed away, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. The accident at Disneyland did not go unnoticed, sparking a thorough investigation into the circumstances that led to Brandon's devastating injuries. The authorities swiftly took action, implementing new regulations and safety measures to prevent such incidents from happening again. The investigation revealed that Disneyland employees had failed to properly load Brandon into the ride, with the smallest child placed farthest from the entryway cut out. Additionally, the safety lap bar was not fully secured, leaving Brandon vulnerable to the unthinkable. The state ordered significant safety changes to the ride, including the installation of sensor-equipped guards around the bottom of each car. In July 2001, after the recommended modifications were made, the Roger Rabbit ride reopened its doors to the public. Bumpers were added to each car to prevent anything from getting caught underneath, ensuring the safety of future riders. Disney also took additional steps to enhance safety measures across all its theme parks, appointing a chief safety officer to oversee the implementation of protocols and regulations. Brandon's family pursued legal action and reached a settlement with Disney, ensuring that Brandon would receive lifelong medical care. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed, but it provided some solace to the family, knowing that Brandon's ongoing medical needs would be taken care of. Brandon's story serves as a reminder that even in places of joy and wonder, unforeseen accidents can happen. It is a call for vigilance, accountability, and a commitment to providing the highest level of safety for every guest who enters the magical world of Disneyland. In the next story, we dive deeper into the fatal accident that took the life of a Disney worker. Debbie Gale Stone, a Disneyland employee, tragically became the first theme park worker to lose her life in a horrific incident involving a ride. Her death was a result of being crushed between closing walls, an unimaginable fate that left her body broken and lifeless. While amusement parks are known for their charm and enchantment, accidents and occasional tragedies among patrons are not unheard of. However, the death of an employee within the park's confines is a hauntingly rare occurrence that shatters the heart. Debbie Stone's story is one of horror and untimely demise at the place she loved. On July 8, 1974, Debbie was working as a hostess at the America Sings ride in Disneyland. It was a temporary job she took to save money for her college tuition fees and to create cherished memories at the park she adored. That fateful day was supposed to be a joyous one, as she had plans to share her newfound love and engagement with her parents. Little did she know that her dream job would turn into a nightmare. The America Sings attraction, which paid tribute to America's musical history, had recently opened. It featured rotating stages within the building where animated animals performed musical acts. Debbie's role was to greet the audience at the beginning and bid them farewell at the end of each show, standing on the left-hand side of the stage. However, tragedy struck during a routine shift change between stages. Around 10:30 p.m., as the stages shifted positions, a narrow gap between a stationary wall and a rotating mechanical wall became a deadly trap. For unknown reasons, Debbie found herself caught between these walls. Her desperate screams filled the air, but most spectators assumed it was part of the show. By the time park staff reached her, it was too late. Debbie had succumbed to her injuries, her young life cut short by a horrific accident. Theme parks, with their exciting rides and shows, bring joy to millions of visitors. However, behind the scenes, a dedicated workforce works tirelessly to make those experiences possible. Often, these employees choose to work in the parks due to their genuine love for bringing happiness to others. They understand the risks involved, but still commit to creating lifelong memories for guests. Debbie Stone was one such individual. Born on June 18, 1956, she was a talented and beautiful young woman. Excelling in academics and athletics, she had dreams of attending college. Disneyland provided her with an opportunity to work in a place she cherished while saving money for her education. Her positive spirit and kind nature made her well-liked among her colleagues and visitors alike. The tragedy of Debbie's death sent shockwaves through Disneyland and beyond. The park temporarily closed the America Sings ride for 2 days and kept the stage where the incident occurred closed for an entire year. Safety measures were implemented, including sensors to detect proximity to the walls and breakaway barriers in case of sensor failure. Despite these changes, the ride eventually closed in 1988. Debbie's legacy lives on, not only in the hearts of those who knew her, but also in the legends surrounding her spirit. Many patrons and employees have claimed to see her apparition and hear a warning voice urging caution. Whether these accounts are true or mere tales woven from grief and speculation, the memory of Debbie Stone and the tragic incident that claimed her life continue to haunt the halls of Disneyland. The last story takes us to the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. Joanne Aguilar and her 2 adult daughters set out for a day of fun and excitement at Disneyland, never anticipating that their visit would turn into a nightmare of humiliation, pain, and tragic consequences. The story of Joanne Aguilar is deeply disturbing, sad, and heartbreaking. As they were disembarking from a water ride at the park, Joanne struggled to find her footing. Shockingly, despite being mere feet away, the park workers did not rush to her aid, but instead, they snickered and giggled as if her struggle and pain were a source of amusement. Feeling humiliated and embarrassed, Joanne lost her balance, resulting in an injury that ultimately led to surgery, a lengthy stay in a medical facility, and tragically, her eventual death. All Joanne Aguilar needed in that moment was an extra helping hand, a little respect, and common courtesy from the ride operators, who should have been trained to handle such situations. She did not require a miracle. Yet Joanne is no longer with us, and her grieving family is left with unanswered questions and a profound sense of loss. In their pursuit of justice, they have taken legal action against the park, but unfortunately, Disneyland is placing the blame on Joanne for the incident and its subsequent consequences. One would hope that the park's management, with a simple act of solidarity, compensation, and acknowledgement of their responsibility, could bring closure to this case and provide some measure of solace to Joanne's family. However, the park has chosen to deflect responsibility, leaving the family no choice but to seek justice through the legal system. In the upcoming details of this tragic incident at Disneyland, we will explore the circumstances that led to the death of Joanne Aguilar. We will delve into the obligations and responsibilities that amusement parks, including Disneyland, have towards individuals with disabilities. The joy and thrill of visiting a theme park should be accessible to all, regardless of their physical state. The parks have a duty to ensure equal opportunities and an environment free from discrimination or mockery. Disneyland in Anaheim, California, is not just any theme park. It is a world of dreams, magic, and wonder that has captivated the hearts of millions since its opening in 1955. It holds a special place in the imaginations of people from all walks of life, offering an escape into a realm of fantasy and adventure. However, like any other park, Disneyland has seen its share of incidents and accidents. Joanne Aguilar was a frequent visitor to Disneyland, and the fateful incident occurred on the Jungle Cruise attraction, formerly known as the Jungle River Cruise. This simulated riverboat cruise takes passengers on a journey through different themed areas inspired by Asia, Africa, and South America. On that ill-fated day, August 22, 2021, Joanne decided to enjoy the wonders of Disneyland with her two daughters, Andrea and Zenobia. Little did they know that their day of fun would end in tragedy. As they arrived at the Jungle Cruise, they were informed that the wheelchair-accessible boat was unavailable. Undeterred, Joanne and her daughters boarded the boat, and everything seemed fine. They enjoyed their time, blissfully unaware of the impending ordeal. However, when it came time to disembark from the boat, a distressing incident unfolded. Joanne, with the assistance of her daughters, struggled to navigate the small, unsecured blocks placed by the park inside the boat to aid in embarking and disembarking. The park workers witnessed her struggle but chose not to offer assistance. Instead, they stood by, snickering and giggling, treating her pain and difficulty as a source of amusement. Even Joanne's daughters felt the indirect abuse and humiliation directed at their mother. The behavior of the park workers was not just disrespectful and unprofessional, it was intentional, cruel, and uncalled for. This callous treatment left Joanne feeling ashamed, humiliated, and embarrassed, emotions that no one should have to endure, especially in a place that prides itself on creating magical and joyful experiences. As a result of this heartless behavior, Joanne lost her balance on the steps and fell backward, suffering a broken right leg. She was immediately rushed to Anaheim Global Medical Center, where she underwent surgery to repair the injury. However, her ordeal was far from over. 10 days later, she was transferred to the Oxnard Manor Healthcare Center for long-term rehabilitation. Tragically, it was during her stay at the healthcare center that Joanne contracted a serious infection, which quickly progressed to septic shock. On January 29, 2022, approximately 5 months after the incident at Disneyland, Joanne passed away, leaving her family shattered and heartbroken. In their quest for justice and accountability, Joanne Aguilar's family has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company, Disney's theme park division, and Disneyland itself. The lawsuit not only seeks to hold those responsible for Joanne's tragic fate accountable, but also alleges violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The family seeks compensation for the pain, mental suffering, humiliation, medical costs, and funeral expenses they have endured. To this day, Disneyland has not settled the case out of court. Instead, they continue to deny any discrimination against Joanne and assert that her injuries were the result of her own negligence. However, the facts speak for themselves, and the actions of the park workers and the lack of proper assistance are clear indications that the park failed to fulfill its duty of care. It is essential that amusement parks, especially those as iconic and influential as Disneyland, take proactive measures to ensure the safety, dignity, and equal treatment of all visitors, including those with disabilities. The joy and magic of Disneyland should be accessible to everyone, and no one should ever be subjected to mockery, humiliation, or neglect. We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Have you or someone you know faced similar challenges while visiting Disneyland or other amusement parks? Do you believe that the accommodation policies for individuals with disabilities at these parks are fair and respectful? Let your voice be heard as we strive for inclusive and compassionate experiences for all.